This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Morning everyone. I would like to welcome everyone that joined us in the morning drive here at Service Juma. It's a pretty morning, as you can see, a little bit low in high ground. Down on the riverbed we have a lot of misty. It'll be a very beautiful day for all predators in the area. You know that if it's a little bit overcast, all the cats, they have extra mile. They hunt in the area. Of course, even in the course of a day, we're looking forward for a morning to have a lovely morning for all different species of animals to be located in the area. From myself, Rexon, this morning, and behind the camera we have Echo. We are looking for the great morning to find all different sort of species that might be in the area. Let's try to head a little bit more south of the property. Before I go furthermore, please you may send your question on hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. If you're under age of 18 years, please pop us an email on kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, and remember to register your question on WildEarth website. Head over to the channel page and submit your question there. It will be very pleasant to read your comment and question today. Of course, we have Tessa, which is headed more east of the property. We have covered the area according to the area of movement of all different sorts of species that might be in the surrounding. I've checked in quarantine south and head more to the western boundary of our conservancy, where we have seen likely a high density of leopards moving on that particular area. More or less, we have seen on that area Tavangume, we have seen Nzutini, we have seen Totospan, and I've seen likely Shidulu moving on that area. It looked like it's really busy to the west. Who knows, maybe today wild dog, as we have seen a little bit of misty. That means it will be a little bit overcast for the morning until a little bit late in the surrounding. Yes, while we are moving in the area, let us take this opportunity to look the other location, how weather does.
Good morning everybody. Yes, I think it is going to be a bit of a cloudy day today. We've already got some clouds building up, but they're hidden behind the mist this morning. So we're going to see what happens as the day goes. My name is Tessa. I'm going to be your guide on safari here this morning. Behind the camera today is Jason, and we have got some amazing plans. Like Rexon said, it's a beautiful day. When it starts with mist and some golden light coming through, you just know you're going to be finding good things. Now, the first thing we did this morning is we started heading towards the area of Mvubu Road, Gari Dam. We know that Dark Mane was on quarantine last night, where we left him, and his tracks were coming out from camp and headed towards Gari Dam and then back again towards quarantine. So Rexon is doing quarantine. I'm going to check Mvubu Road and the drainage line towards Gari Dam, and from there we will see what we can find. Now, I'm a massive fan of a misty morning. It always makes me think of the film Gorillas in the Mist. And to me, any sighting that you have in this light, it can be very tough to capture it, but it is always absolutely breathtaking, especially in person. It's nice and cold, which means that animals are still going to be moving around. The grass is wet, so hopefully they'll be using the roads. And of course, we have some pretty big plans for this morning. Getting out nice and early. We're going to head past Gowrie Dam. If we can't find Dark Main, that's okay. I want to get to the hyena den as early as possible. See if there's anybody home. We went past last night, but nobody was home. And then from there, I'm going to be checking towards Batalia Road, Mamba Link. I've got this bug that's bitten me since Rexon found Shitsalala young male. And Marie, we're so excited to have you with us. Welcome on board. We're excited to see what we can find this morning on our morning bumble. Do let us know if there is anything that you are wanting to see, and we'll see if we can find it for you. We'll certainly do our best. But yes, I've got this bug that's bitten me since Rexon found Shitsalala young male last night. Of course, he comes from Ngala, and that's where I spent the first few years of my guiding career. And the last time I saw him, he was absolutely tiny. So I would love to catch up with him again now that he's a big boy that's independent. I think that would be wonderful. I remember... Oh, I can hear something walking. I remember yesterday when Rexon said he'd found a young male leopard, and they said it's confirmed to be Shitsalala. I got such a fright. I thought there's no way that this leopard has followed me here. I don't think he has, but still exciting. And hopefully I get to find him. So I'm going to head towards Gowrie Dam, and we'll see what we can find.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Welcome back from Tessa. We are now here, Texans Road, heading south towards Treehouse. We are going to check in this area what was the movement of all animals at night, looking along the road if there's any tracks information. Let's see what might be getting in the area. We'll be more concentrating on the tracks this morning. Look at the signs on leopard, lions, leopard cubs, hyenas, all different sort of species.
A proper bumble in the mist this morning. I've got this weird excitement because it's so tough to see anything, so you got to take it like super slow. Everything's got to be slowed down a lot. And of course, it means that we can't see very far. Tracking is fairly easy this morning because of the light. It's quite scattered on the road. So the tracks are fairly easy to see, and the tracks look like they were cutting back off towards quarantine, but always but very exciting things could happen today. The possibilities are endless, everybody. Endless. Wow, the visibility at this point is probably 20 meters, if that. We could be driving past elephants and we would not know unless we heard them. Love it. I'll never forget one of the most beautiful photos my brother ever took, because he's an avid wildlife photographer, so is my mum. And they're both amazing at it. I'm still polishing up my skills, bringing my camera with. And my brother, we were driving through the self-drive section in the southern part of the Kruger Park. And there was a bushfire. And so the soil was completely blackened. Everything was just ash. It was so stark, and it was mist. It was early morning mist. And these 3 cheetahs came walking down through the mist on this burnt black soil with little sticks of yellow. And he got this amazing photo of the cheetahs coming out of the mist. Absolutely beautiful. But anyway, before I get rambling on about stories, I'm going to send you over to JP to say good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Eco Trading Pridelands. We decided that this morning we're going to start looking for an elephant by the name of Isolwini, which is one of the largest elephant bulls within the area. And Morgan has never seen him before, so we really hope to find him. At the moment we also will notice that the mist is starting to roll in as well, and I would love to see him in the mist. So my name is JP LaRue, and behind the camera we've got Morgan. So one of the things that I am looking for this morning as I'm driving around and checking the dam is a footprint of a fairly large elephant bull that's in must. And at the moment, Isolwini is in full must and he's dribbling a lot of urine. And that is one of the telltale signs which you can actually use to follow or identify bulls that are in must if you are tracking them, compared to a bull that would not be in must at that moment. Other than that, we will also just be keeping our ears open to listen for trees and branches that might be breaking while he's busy feeding. So when Tessa was referring to the mist for this morning and that's how much she loves the mist, our mist bank is also starting to roll in. And the mist also reminds me of one of my favorite sightings, and that is the group of lions which we used to find on one Wanetsi concession within the Kruger National Park. At one point there were almost 50 lions, and myself and the tracker that I used to work with at that stage, Dan, was busy tracking them. And a short while later we actually did find them in the thick mist, and we found all of them busy feeding on a wildebeest. And the next moment all 5 of the big males came in and chased the rest of the remainder of the pride off and then feasted on this big wildebeest. It was quite a special morning as it took us quite a lot of tracking work, and also above all ambience that the mist created. Well, we're going to start moving on and see what we can go and find. And as we move off, let's go and see what Rexon is up to.
Welcome back from Prideland with JP. We are right here at Three House Dam. We just arrived here. There's a single hippo that is still inside the water at the moment. Really, it's in the nature of the hippo, but even an overcast day, you find that the hippo returned back late in the water. but sometimes depend, because this species is one of the species that rely on the water when it comes to skin lubrication. They has to dip into the water. They have a membrane in the thick skin that absorb a lot of water. If that membrane dries up, it's a nature for the hippo to return back into the water and let the membrane really absorb the water from the skin that has to stay wet, because if it stay dry, it might really affect the species when it comes to Ali asking question that hippo still go outside if it's heavy raining, grazing. Yes, it's in the nature of the hippo. They eat, remember, they eat grass. They have to feed themselves, even if it's raining. That is a very suitable or very good condition, sorry, for the weather for the hippo to move out in the land. Sometimes you find the hippo in some areas where grass are healthy, or if not healthy, they can cover up to 40 kilometers away from the water, grazing around. But this time of the year, they might cover less than that, maybe 15, 20, and return back to the water. It's in the nature of the hippo to move, even if it's hot or raining. Yes, they do so. They move out of the water. While we are talking about this specific hippo that are here, it looks like it's not the hippo that always around Gary Dam. This one look slightly smaller. The shape of this hippo, it look like a female. If you look at the head, it's not that much broad as the male do. If it happened, it could be a young male that kicked out from the pond by a dominant male, a hippo that might be operating with a female. It's in the nature of all species that are territorial. Once you born in the pond or in the pride, when you get a certain age, whether it's 2.5 years, when you nearly reach the sexual maturity, it's in the nature of a dominant male to push you out and go and live your own life. So it might happen the same. But the look of the thing, it could be a female that roams around in the area. Suddenly, he decided to stay here, and the rest of the hippo move maybe furthermore east, Befesuk Dam, or in our neighborhood, Chitwa Chitwa. And I will be linking back from the hippo to JP, which has a wonderful sunrise.
Good morning and welcome back to Pridelands. I just thought maybe let's quickly stop for a sunrise, as that we have sun on this side, although we've also got a thick mist bank that's rolling in from one side. So while there is a little bit of sunrise, let's enjoy it. At the moment there's a lot of noisy Egyptian geese that you might be hearing, and the reason why that's such a raucous is that there was an intruder that flew over the territory. And as they spotted him, they started warning him that it's best to leave the area. And quite often, if these intruders don't follow the warning, they will actually start chasing them out of the area and attacking them. One of the things that we'll also notice with Egyptian geese is that they will often show a white wing panel to the intruder, which is a territorial aggressive signal to actually chase him away. Well, it doesn't seem if he's taking the warning serious, and he's back again, and here the chase is starting. Okay, now he was chased off, and the one is actually now going back. Good morning, Susan, and welcome to the show. Yes, we do get sunrises in Africa during the winter, and for me, in the winter months, they're actually even more spectacular. And one of the things that I do like about sunrises and sunsets in the winter is that there's quite often a lot of smoke particles from veld fires and escarpment, as well as in the low veld, and also a lot of dust in the air. And then at that specific time of the year, the angle that the sun strikes at also allows for incredibly intense orange sunsets and sunrises. And meanwhile, let's go and see what Tess is up to.
Thank you, JP. I agree. I think the winter months can be a lot more beautiful than the summer months because of all of the reds, browns, oranges, and of course, beautiful sunrises and sunsets. But alas, none of that right now. I have found a very large community web spider nest, and the funnel or the angular nest is massive. So this is one of the more different ones in the sense that normally when we find a community web spider nest, the actual nest, the big bulgy part, is somewhere at the top or in the middle. This one is actually below the grass layer, which is quite strange, but I suppose it protects it. Protects it from birds and things, because with the overgrowth of the grass, the birds can't fly in very easily and try and pick spiders off one by one. So in that sense, I guess it's pretty smart. It just means the spiders are going to have to crawl very quickly up the web if anything does happen to get caught. Now what you can see is that there is a slight breeze that we did not feel. We didn't know it existed until we saw the spider's web, and you can see just a little bit of the silk blowing gently in the wind. Very, very gently. It's a slow sway. So that shows us there is a small breeze this morning. And of course, early mornings are the best for spider webs because you can see the web much more clearly thanks to the dew, and today the mist. Fiona, unfortunately not. Some of the smaller spider species might kind of hitchhike onto the top of the web somewhere into the angular funnels, so the catch web around the top and the sides. If it's a very small spider, sometimes they hop on and join the community, but they won't go into the nest itself. They'll stay on the edges of the web, and that's because if other spiders come along, the community web spiders would eat them. They would compete and they would eat them. So it's not actually safe for other spider species to come and hop on. That being said, in webs like this, I have seen some of the smaller ones, but they're so small that it's not worth eating, if that makes sense, to the community web spiders. You can imagine with a web that size, there's probably anywhere from 30 to 100 spiders in that one little nest, maybe even more. And so they would need a fair amount of food. And so they're actually hoping for things like moths, or butterflies, or beetles, anything that will come and happen to get caught through that catchment web. It has got some pretty big holes in it, so you can see something like a bird has flown through it at some point. And they haven't seemed to repair it, but we did see a spider in the web just now. Jason did manage to find one or two with the camera. So it's still active, they just haven't repaired the bigger holes yet. And this is one of the few instances in nature where we see spiders working together. Windy Girl, these nests are pretty strong. I wouldn't think that rain would destroy it. Possibly hail would. If there was a hail downpour, then yes, I would think it might get destroyed from the impact. But with rain, even if it's heavy rain, remember that spider's silk is very strong. And they weave different types of silk. There's 7 different types of silk that a spider can weave. And so there's thicker silk that's stronger for the structural supports where it's hanging off of the branches, then a little bit finer around the catchment and towards the nest, again very thick. So for a golden orb, another thick part would be right in the middle of the web where they're attracting insects towards. And so the webs are actually pretty strong, especially against natural things. However, if I was to walk through it or an elephant, the web would be destroyed, but it would still be solid on me or on the elephant. So it wouldn't tear all over. It would just kind of break some of the bonds on the edges. So that's why we see these nests a lot out here.
Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. We quickly stopped at Leopard Dam to enjoy a sunrise before we move on and start looking for one of our iconic big elephants in this area. By the name of Zilwini, spotted last night, and we hope to really find them. At the moment, we've been also watching a number of Egyptian geese that had a territorial dispute, have now gone quiet. We're just going to do a short little silent segment and give you the opportunity to enjoy our sunrise as well as listen to the different sounds in the background.
Welcome back from Sunrise with Tessa and JP. We are now trekking the Pride of Lions from Treehouse Dam. They're heading west along Gary, Main. You'll never know this is our boundary road. To the left is another property. To the right is our property. Look like the whole Pride with more than 5 or 6 youngsters that we're moving together with the Pride in a direction where we're going. Let's follow up on these lines, see if we'll be lucky to find them. So Kuhuma, it looks like they've been in the area and they're moving in the direction of west. Very interesting. I've been seeing for these cubs at least for 3 months. So it might be now big enough in order to move from one part to another, even going for far distances. There might be in the range of at least 5 to 6 months. Children, lovely to have your question. Do I miss really distract or disturb on trekking? Not at all, Julian. Only thing that the miss might is to see far, about 200 meters. We can't know what might be moving there until we get closer and closer. But the mist, nothing they can really disturb us on trekking the lines. And it's such a very beautiful weather. Also from trekking, because the ground or all pieces of the stones break down from vehicle when they drive here is not gonna shine back towards or reflect back to us, to our eyes. We're able to see more details on the ground. So it's nothing that can really disturb. We still continuously, we are lucky, this Pride still going west. We just hope and wish they have to turn to the right. If they do so, we're able to see them. If they're continuously heading to the west, around, about 400 meters from where we are, there's another boundary that is no go area from us. We cannot continuously moving with them or tracking them if they cross into other Tuza. We have no rights there. But let's cross fingers. They might be lying down not far from where we are. If it does happen, you can see now and then this Pride of Lions, they were moving and lying down in not areas around me. We'll be looking back one of the or two Tessa, which is she's on Bumble at the moment.
Good luck, Rex. I agree. I hope the lions come back. That would be wonderful. But what we are doing at the moment is we are bumbling along. We've just passed the area of Spaghetti Junction, which is where Rexon had the leopard yesterday. And of course, what we are wanting to do is have a look if there's any tracks. And of course, what we are wanting to do is have a look if there's any tracks on the side. I'm going to go right down to the Hyena Den Twin Dams, check along there, and then I'll come back up the Milwaukee drainage line. And from the Milwaukee, I'll start doing Battalier Road, Mamba Link, Mamba Road, because that is the direction that he was headed in. So instead of going straight there, I'd rather come here to see if he's come back towards Twin Dams, and then go around to the roads less travelled. And of course, stop in at the Hyena Den for a bonus with the hyena in the road. A very sad looking hyena with a very big injury on its face. Good heavens. Where did the hyena go? Alright, it is coming back, everybody. This hyena has an injury on its face. If you could please just help me with a quick ID. It is coming back towards the clearing. Alright, we might get it in the scalp. Alright, get ready, Jason, because when it moves, it's going to move quickly. Come on, hyena. There we go. Oh, it's so low in the grass, but try your best to follow there, Jason. Big injury on the face. It looks like quite a light hyena. Right, we're going to turn and follow it. The grass is so long for me. I'm sitting, all I can see is the back of its head. Right, so it looks like it's got an injury up to the right-hand side of the face towards the ear from the jaw. It's looking very sad, if I can call it that. Going towards Spaghetti Junction. You can see it's shaking its head, so it's agitated. It's in pain. Right, let's have a look where we're going. That was a quick change of plans. Good heavens. I wonder if it's going to go towards some water and try and cool itself down. Looks like it might. Alright, this is our chance, Jason. Okay, there we go. We're going to have a solid view here. Right, let's get an ID on this hyena. Oh wow, ears are bitten very badly. A wound down the side of the face a little bit. It's actually a lot of blood coming down from the ear, so we've obviously had a bit of an interaction here. Oh, my glasses are misting up in the mist. Right, let's see where it goes. Back up past Spaghetti Junction. Trying to keep up. Right, we're going to loop around because the road comes in front of it again. Yeah, it's 100% not ribbon, it's 100% not hot, as far as I can tell. Looks to be a younger one. Doesn't look like heart to me. Heart is a bit darker. I've never seen a hyena with that kind of body language where it's literally just hanging its ears. It's hanging its whole head, so it looks like it's quite shameful, if that makes sense. Fiona, I'm wondering exactly the same thing. If we've got another change up of dominance going on. Oh, now we've got a nice view of this side. That looks like a bit of a comet shape on the side. Correct me if I'm wrong, but could that not be Swazi? With that bracket shape on the side? So I know Swazi on the one side has a bit of an ET on the one side, and on the other side a very distinct comet shape. I don't know if I'm correct or not. To me, it could be. I've never seen Swazi look so upset though, if it is Swazi. Alright, well, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's confused at the moment. I know we have been seeing one young male that is not from the Djuma clan between Gari Dam and kind of Vuyatela access. So I'm not sure if it might be this one. I'm going to try and get a view of the other side for you, because if we can have a view of both sides of the spot pattern, it'll give us a much better idea. But this is definitely hyena on hyena interaction. There we go. Thank you, Michael Fleetwood. Okay, so similar markings to Swazi, but not a member of the Djuma clan. So this is the same one I saw at Gari Dam then. And that is exactly why there's been hyena on hyena interactions today, because this hyena has obviously been pushing a little bit too close to the Djuma clan. They're not happy with it. And so they've had a bit of an interaction where they've been trying to move this hyena off. But you can see the backs of its ears are really tattered. And this is exactly what Ribbon looked like after the overthrow, or the re-overthrow, I should say. Hyenas are very, very specific about where they will interact with each other when they're having dominance issues or social interactions. And behind the ears towards the neck is the most common place that you will see bite marks. I'm glad I'm not the only one that was confused. That makes me feel so much better. I'm not losing my mind. We're going all the way back up Twin Dams Road towards Gari Dam, but it's worth it. And this hyena is really looking like it feels sorry for itself. You can see by the way it's walking. Now, normally when we see a hyena stance, when they're walking, you know they've got the head quite high up, the ears are up, they're sniffing around. This hyena's head is hanging so low, with those ears flattened towards the floor. Very hangy, if that makes sense. And trying its best to clear out of the area of Ribbon's den side. Now remember, this is often how hyenas, when they are getting to the point of mating or anything like that, this is often how the hyenas will come into new clans, is the males might disperse. So I don't know if it's maybe been pushing its luck, trying to get a little bit too close to the females. Maybe it went past the den site and they just decided, you're not welcome here, because that would make sense. It's not part of the clan. It's not a trusted family member. So, Kerry, it would be part of probably that disbursement. So possibly this hyena left the clan maybe in Biffleshoek or wherever, and has been coming in. We've been seeing it at Gari Dam, and hunting on its own because it's not part of the big clan anymore. But the way that it would work is that a male would try to disperse to other clans to try and get a new bloodline in, so that, you know, this prevents inbreeding in the clan. So it would be like Swazi, for example, trying to mate with the hyenas in the Djuma clan. It doesn't really make sense because Swazi's part of the family, they're related. So they would need a different hyena to come in to mate with the females. So, I mean, it doesn't always happen like that. Swazi might very well mate with some of the females. But this disbursement probably was just a little bit too pushy. So coming in to check out the clan and, of course, getting too close, possibly to the cubs. And the hyenas said, nope, not today.
Welcome back from Test of the Hyena Live. We are now at Triple M Impala Plains at the moment. Our line tracks have crossed into the west, and we are now here. We get a fresh scent of a leopard. Look like it's been a leopard in the area walking, but the tracks that we can really observe, it look like from yesterday, but the scent, it really very strong and look more fresh. It might be another leopard that been in the area. Let me take an opportunity to check the roads if there's any fresh tracks in the surrounding. Please stay with us. We'll be checking this road heading towards Sandy Patch. You never know. Dark men love Sandy Patch. Maybe towards the end of this road, we might get leopard or dark mane.
Okay, adrenaline is still pumping. We lost sight of that hyena. It disappeared very quickly into the thickets towards the Mulawati drainage line, in that section where there's actually no road, where we cannot drive it. So I'm not sure where it's going, but my first instinct is to go back to the den and see what the other hyenas are doing, because running like that from that far tells me that that interaction was fairly recent, if the hyena was still in the area, so it was now only making its escape. So my first instinct is, let's go check on the den, let's see if the babies are there, let's see if there's any other hyenas around, and then we might be able to piece together a little bit more of the story, because I don't think the hyenas are just going to disappear very quickly after an interaction like that. There'll be scent marking, there'll be all sorts of displays going on, because hyenas are so specific about the clan. So I want to go and have a look what is happening at the den site. Maybe we'll bump into some of the hyenas following this way. Maybe they'll all just be relaxing, making sure everyone's alright at the den site. You never know, but motherly instinct over here is kicking in to check on the cubs. Let's check on those of the clan. Spice, that's a difficult one to answer, because I think everything that hyenas do is a little bit different to the other predators. The social structure and the interactions, especially the social interactions, are very strange. But it is, I mean, I know AP saw it as well the other day. Went and found a hyena cub. I didn't see that in person, but like that to me is very unusual behavior, because normally, yes, hyenas will roll in carcasses, but not a hyena from the same clan, especially not a cub. So I think that would probably be one of the stranger ones I've heard of. Actually seen myself, I haven't been anywhere that has been super strange. It's been the normal social interactions, but of course they take a while to get used to, because it's so different to the other predators, that when you do actually get to spend time with hyenas and see those intimate moments where they are having complex social interactions, you know, the greeting ceremonies, everything is so different that kind of, it takes a while to wrap your mind around and interpret. Oh, Okay, I'm going to check on the den sides. I will keep you updated. We're just about to arrive. And it sounds like Rexon has got a surprise in the mist. Let's go have a look.
Welcome back from Tessa, live with the hyena. We're right here at Impala Plain to the north. Yeah, just come across with the breeding head of an elephant in the midst, of course. Really, really difficult to see an elephant from a distance, this kind of a weather. But you look, all the elephant that cover the area can hear the elephant to the right, but we can't see because it's really thick in the air and they start to move into the open. It's one of my favorite species out in nature here. Elephant is one of the highly intelligent species, a very, very clever species into the area, moving in the area with the reason from one part to another. Highly intelligent. You can see the elephant in the background that are moving to the left. The female here, she looks like she's the one that heading the rest of the herd itself, a matriarch. A matriarch, his duty is all the time make sure the elephant are moving in the area where it's availability of food and availability of water. And also safety is very, very important for all youngsters that are involved in a breeding herd. In a breeding herd, you see young elephant in the age of 18, under 18 years as a male. You find different age of a female in the breeding herd itself. And all of that, they command by a matriarch. A matriarch will to signal danger, and they all will respond. A matriarch will signal any situation if he wants the elephant to move out of that area. A matriarch is the one that command and really let the elephant, all of them, if she really wants them to move into open, or they will come into the open space. And this breeding herd of elephant, always, you know that elephant in nature, they're not territorial. They're not like lions. They're not like leopard. These are the home range species. They will move from one part to another, and they can really know where they're going. It's not their first time. And we'll be, of course, staying with the elephant. At the meantime, let's link back to JP.
Welcome back to Pridelands. We just quickly hopped out of a vehicle to see some tracks, and we're still on our search for our elephant. Some of the tracks that we did find right over here, this is belonging to a zebra, and you can see that it's a fairly round looking track. And as mentioned before, a zebra is actually an uneven-toed ungulate, and its closest relatives is actually a rhino, which has got 3 toes. Most of the antelope species, giraffe and buffalo, we refer to them as even-toed ungulates. And ungulates are basically animals that walk and run on the tip of their toe, and this is a structure that allows for fast running. Right over here, we've got the footprint of a hyena, and you can see the typical kidney-shaped toes over here, and the nails marking over here in the track. We also see that the back part of his pad is fairly small, and unlike cats, it actually has 2 lobes and not 3 lobes. And also, unlike cats, the nails actually show in the track. But there's also a little track that we wanted to share with you over here, and this one belongs to an elephant. And here we can see the hind foot, which is much more oval in shape, where it actually stepped on top of the front foot, which is much more rounded in shape. And this means that this animal is probably moving at an intermediate speed, because if a hind foot was directly behind the front foot, that would be meaning slow speed, and a fast speed would be that the front foot would be well in front, the hind foot would be well in front of the hind foot. We can also see tiny little cracks and markings which we find underneath the pad of this elephant's foot. And each and every individual has got its own unique crack pattern and pad markings, which you can also use to identify them, just like a fingerprint. Some of the other things that I do find particularly interesting is that there's a large amount of cartilage underneath the foot, which allows for a silent walking. And that's why you can barely hear an elephant when they're moving through the bush. But in the meanwhile, let's go and see what Tess is up to, and we're going to continue our search for our big elephant bull.
Alright, so instincts were correct, everybody. I've come down to the den site and success. For the first time in days, we are seeing Ribbon looking nice and relaxed at the den site, with the cubs happily suckling and grooming. And so far, I've been looking at her face, and I can see there's one or two fresh little scratches here and there. One on her face. I'm wondering if maybe she had this interaction with the other hyena and then came straight back to comfort the cubs, make sure everybody was okay. Oh, I love the little sounds. So these little cubs are really starting to find their voices. They're having quite a lot of interactions with each other, especially when it's time to suckle. And every day it feels like they're getting lighter. We can see the spot pattern emerging more and more. Now, Ribbon is looking better today than I think she's looked in a while, which is fantastic news. We haven't seen her in a few days, but the last few times that I saw her, she was looking more similar to the hyena we saw earlier. Her head was quite low. She was looking a little bit sad or upset with life, which is normal. She's just been overthrown, you know. Oof, look at that ear. You can see the top has got some new chew marks again. Goodness gracious, Ribbon, what has been going on here? Kaylee, I don't think that there is a chance that the unknown male is the father. I'm actually not sure who the father of Ribbon's cubs are, but it possibly has been recorded. But I guess there's a small possibility always, but I don't think that's the case, because if that was the case, then they wouldn't have had an interaction quite like that, I would think. It would have been a bit friendlier. I'm loving this. I'm hoping that now once the cubs get enough nice warm milk and that we might see them moving around a bit. Oh my goodness, we have got a massive hyena coming in here. And it's going to be an interesting interaction to see what happens. It's Hart, who's had obviously a meal the size of who knows what. Look at that belly. Is it Hart? It looks like Hart with the tip off the ear. It looks like Hart with the tip off of the top. Yeah, definitely. Looking at some interactions over here. Look at the excitement from the cubs. Alright, so the cub between her back legs is definitely a male. Let's just run down to the den site. Is it possible that the one on the right-hand side now coming down is also a male? Goodness. Certainly looks like it. So this is the first chance that I've had in quite a while to actually witness the cubs with their genitalia out, completely out, so that we can actually have a closer look, because it's very confusing with hyenas. Yes, definitely hot, but it looks like she's eaten an entire buffalo on her own. The excitement that those cubs showed as she arrived was unbelievable. She literally looks like she's pregnant again. Oh my goodness, that belly. So possible with such a big belly, maybe that other hyena was also coming in to have a look for the food. And maybe that's where some of the interactions happen, not necessarily here. Well, Keisha, I'm happy that you're enjoying it. We are too. It's so lovely to have some interactions here so early in the morning. And of course, especially after seeing that hyena running earlier with all those injuries, it's not part of the Juma clan. It certainly throws a bit of a spanner in the works. So it's nice to come back, do a bit of a health and wellness check. And to see heart popping in and then out again. But it certainly looks like she's eaten more than her fair share. I don't think I've ever seen a hyena that looked that big from food alone. Honestly, that stomach is so big it made me double guess my identification that it was heart, because it just looks too big to be normal. Can you imagine trying to walk around with a belly that size full of red meat? Alright, let's see what happens. As Heart moves further and further, the other cubs are going to come back, so hopefully we'll get some more interactions as they return.
Good morning and welcome back to Pryden's. We're still in search of looking for our big elephant bull. As we've been driving, we've seen several signs of him moving through the area, and those are incredibly large footprints. And at the moment, this bull is actually a must. He's also been seeing that he's actually been dribbling urine, which is typical of bulls that are unmasked. What we also deducted is that he's actually following a breeding herd of elephants, and this we could see through a means of a number of different sized tracks, right through from incredibly small tracks from calves up to a number of larger sized tracks of the cows in that group. And what he's doing is looking for females that are in estrus at the moment, so that he can potentially mate with them. We're going to continue our search and see if we can get lucky to find him. Some of the other things that we can use to find elephants when we are tracking them as fresh signs of dung as well as urine. And we can also use that in terms of aging it by looking at how dry it is. And we can actually deduct if it's been recently done or if it's been done quite a while ago already. One of the things that I've often done if it does come to assessing how fresh elephant dung is, it's just by simply pushing your finger into it. If it's still nice and warm on the inside, you definitely know that you're on a track of a fresh, or very close to finding that elephant. If it's cold, obviously it's already old. We're just going to continue to see what we can go and find, and if there's any more signs of our elephant bull. And in the meanwhile, we're just going to do a short silence segment while we are driving.
Welcome back. We are still with the breeding herd of elephant. It's now high season in Juma service ends for all elephant, the migration route of an elephant is highly concentrated in this specific area. The reason behind that, due to the rain season, also amarula trees that are fruiting at the moment, all the elephants, they migrate from the northern eastern corner of the Greater Kruger National Park and all come all the way down, highly concentrating service signs furthermore north up to the south, raising elephant likes amarula trees. And again, when the elephant migrate in the area, their route of migration is always not forgettable from the elephant. They always know, according to the rain season, which area they were highly concentrated, because, of course, when it comes to rain in the area, we have different patches of rain. Some of the area rain highly, some of the area a little bit low. We're not in the very same scale of percentage of rains around in the area. For instance, if you look at furthermore north of us and the middle of the service end, which we are right in the northern reaches of the service end, and further down south and more to the eastern Kruger. So the patches of rain in the area, some of the area, the rain concentrate very high, some of the area is very low. So they can choose in different areas where they can really migrate according to the rain, according to what might be fruiting in that particular area. At the moment, we see an elephant in an area. Furthermore, maybe next 2 months, they'll be moving furthermore to the north, which highly there will be amarula season from now up to March. Around Timbawati, all the way down Klaseri area. These elephants will move highly concentrated on that, following amarula trees and also high availability of grass and other species of plant that the elephant really prefer the most. At the moment, we have seen more elephant, more especially down south of us and also in this middle. You can see that all these elephants that are moving in, they're heading slowly to the north of the property. And we'll be, of course, linking back to Tessa, which we still have some hyena activity around Twin Dams.
We are having a very successful and happy morning over here. Got a lot of little interactions happening from Ribbon's two cubs. They're busy suckling at the moment. Heart's cub has just started coming in at the side, which is why these two are being a bit vocal, because Heart is up and down on the road. She's not settling. And I think that might have to do with the fact that her stomach is so large that she probably can't lie down. She has eaten something all on her own and finished every last bit of it, I'm sure. But we are enjoying spending our time here this morning. I don't know how long Ribbon is going to be here, so while she's here we are taking advantage of that and watching as much as we can. So Heart is still in the road here, you can see her, and the cub is just on the edge of the grass. You can see it moving every now and then. And she's backwards and forwards, so I think she is smelling the other hyena, the one that's not in the Juma clan that we saw earlier. I think she's doing a bit of a patrol almost. But when I get back to the road, I'm actually going to check which way Heart's tracks came from, because if she's that full, there's a carcass somewhere. And I'm wondering what it is and where it is. Honestly, she looks like she's pregnant with 2 separate litters at the same time. That's how much she's eaten. So she's not going to need to go and fetch food for another good few days. She'll be able to relax in the drainage lines in the shade and then come back to the den site to feed her cub at night. Right, let's see if she pops up here at the entrance with Ribbon. What I find interesting is the different colorations of Heart and Ribbon and the other hyenas. They all have such a distinct color. Ribbon to me is much more creamy on her body, where Heart is much more rusty orange. Little variations in the coats. can hear Ribbon's a bit unhappy. I'm loving the interaction, straight to the mouth, straight to licking the teeth. A lot of excitement from that cub. Arturo, no, I would not think that they're using the other dens for food storage at all. I think that they're going to find food whenever there's a carcass or whenever they can hunt something, and they're coming back. I don't think that they're storing any food anywhere. The most common way that hyenas will store food instead of in a den site is actually in water holes. They'll put a carcass under the water. Oh my goodness, this cub's got a stick and it's very proud of it. I'm definitely teething. So normally they'd find a mud wallow or a water hole and put a carcass in there if they want to keep it cool for a while. Hello, girl. She's definitely still sniffing something. And here comes her cub bumbling along behind her. Now you can see that this is Heart's cub from the chunkiness. Very same or similar, very much the same or similar build to Heart. Have a look at this little thing. Oh, sorry, Jason, I was talking about the cub. So it's right here next to the vehicle. Getting very curious at this age. So just a reminder for everybody, in case you did not know, the Juma clan is part of our Genesis collection. And if you would like to find out more, you can go to WildEarth website and look for the NFTs tab. You can go to wildearth.tv and it should pop up. So this little cub is quite curious. You can see it's coming closer to the vehicle. It's looking for things to pick up with its mouth. It's sniffing everything. So we're going to sit here for a while and see what happens. Heart is still just pacing up and down the road, smelling all of the stuff that's gone down. And so we're going to sit here with the cubs for a bit longer and see what happens. Let's head over to Rexon with his elephants.
Welcome back from Tessa. We're still with the breeding herd of elephant. Very relaxed breeding herd or family of an elephant. You can see there's youngster involved. Once at this stage, one of the youngster can see try to lead the rest of the herd. It's really amazing to see how much more relaxed when it comes to the little ones around the matriarch society. Is one of the things that really, if I wanted to share with you this morning, with elephant migration, Amarula. To my right here, you'll see is quite a lot of heap of a dung, quite a lot of Amarula. This time of the year, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, you'll see what's in there. Lots of Amarula. That's reason all the high concentration of elephants is in this area. And also it's very important for us to know that during Amarula season, the elephant, they collect highly nutritious food that makes their body system also to gain more weight. And it's more important for all elephant that comes into the area enjoying Amarula, more especially males, is how actually if they're more healthy, is how actually they will end it, more especially that above 30 years, 35 onwards, they will easily get into oestrus if the body is very healthy and added more weight. They can able to defend themselves very well when it comes to mating. Once they get into mass, they will be able to really mate. If not, they will be able to defend themselves from other bulls when it comes to fighting. You know that also defending from other species that compete with them as far as lion, survival of the fittest out in the bush. So this season of the Amarula or the elephant really likes that. Hello, very good question. Very interesting. At the age of 10, do an elephant do need a male to protect like as lion do? Not at all. Elephant is one of the species that is very strong. If you wanna compare with all species that are out in the bush, elephant is one of the strongest. In the family, they really protect one another. If all individual, the all adults up to the middle age, they really protect themselves and protect one another. So they don't have to be with the male all the time. Amongst themselves as a family, they can do well. This is one of the species, of course, they operate differently, not like other species like lions. If you look at like buffalo need, of course, number of males in order to protect the whole herd. Here, it's only the females because they're a lot more strong. Lion cannot hunt easily. The biggest threat out here is a lion and human being. That's reason in a breeding herd of elephant, they're a lot more protective. If a human being is on foot, you know that to think about breeding herd in the area where you're walking, please run away if you don't read the bush, of course.
So we are still just appreciating Ribbon and her cubs that are suckling, and poor Heart's cub is kind of just milling around in the background, waiting for Heart to come back. But Heart has finally disappeared into the thickets on the other side towards the drainage line. So while we're here, we are just going to have a listen, because the cubs are making some very cute noises every now and then, really learning to vocalize. And of course, there's some lovely sounds around us with the birds calling. So let's have a listen while we watch. So Heart has just arrived back again. You could see a reaction straight away from the cubs. I don't know if she's trying to walk off some of the meat or if she's just interested in the smells. It looks like she's looking for something. So I'm wondering if she's smelling the other hyena that was here. Maybe it came past the den site. She's had a bit of a swim, it looks like. Cooling off that big belly.
Welcome back to Eco Training Bridlands. We are on our way to one of the other dams to go and see if we can find any other field signs of our big elephant bull that we're looking for. In the meanwhile, one of the other stations also let us know that there was a call of a lion in the area. I therefore briefly stopped to sit and listen if we can maybe hear any form of contact call of a lion as well. But it's dead quiet. So we just thought we'll do a quick stop as well as do a silent segment and allow you just to listen to the sounds of nature in the background at the moment. There's a number of different bird species, which includes oxpeckers, which are calling in the background. It seems that they might actually have a nest quite close by here into one of the dead trees. Good morning, Lisa, and welcome to the show. Yes, after 22 years of guiding, it still surprises me how quickly an elephant can disappear. And even if it's one of the largest land mammals, they disappear very quickly behind trees and vegetation. Even when it comes to giraffe, they do precisely the same. And although elephants are incredibly big and they've got so many special adaptations to their feet, which also enables them to walk very quietly, it still surprises me that how quiet they can be. And quite often when we are in areas and we suddenly hear a branch break, but we didn't hear a single footstep coming towards us, and suddenly there's our big elephant in front of us. And meanwhile, let's go and see what Rexon is up to.
Welcome back from Jason. I really agree with you, JP. It's more difficult to find elephants sometimes. It's really big animal. If they really want to disappear or hidden well in the area, they do so. It's one of the species, of course, that really, if they want to move and hide, they do so. We will see all these elephants heading more to the north. We might able to follow down to the direction where they're going. But one thing for sure that I was really wants to share with you, if you look at how powerful this species, it deserves to be called one of the species, the most or the king of the jungle in the area. If you look at how elephant does, as Anna have asked question, 8-year-old, elephant really all the time protect itself. They don't have male to protect, and is one of the most powerful animal that we have in the surrounding, that even a lonely elephant can really survive and protect itself amongst all different sort of predators around in the area. If you look at this structure of the family itself, you can see calculate less than 4 adult females and a lot more sub-adult that are involved in the structure itself. Guarantee all these youngsters, they're going to survive from these 4 female protecting them. Although I know that it's not only the 4 female, it could be more than that, because the elephant in nature, during the course of a day or when the light breaks up in the morning, they will be really separating themselves into a small heads in order to move around in the area without distracting on the ground or causing impact on the ground itself. So you might find that the matriarch and the second matriarch, they might go in a different direction, but later on in the course of a day, if they do want to get together, they communicate with a very low frequency and they'll get together before sun goes down, or if they want to meet in a water hole, they will do that. They communicate. It's one of the species that they communicate to very low frequency called subsonic sound that can travel from 10 to 15 kilometers apart from one another. As JP said, you can see this elephant just disappear in a small head of on a small bushes or in a thicket here, which they are really moving away. The color of the elephant also give more the species to camouflage in the green sort of leaves, like as you can see here. Let me move forward, then we can see a little bit of them, but look like they get into a point where it might be a water and they try to really stay in the area. Having youngster, they really need area like this where the grass is really highly nutritious, then the youngsters they can able to grow very fast. If I take it back in the history of Juma or Service Center at all, we used to have lots of bulls around in the area that comes through. Female, they never concentrated in this area. You find quite a lot of sightings of females down south riverbeds like Sand River and Sabe River on those areas. But today it looked like they're all coming more to the north, which of course they will have a lot more elephant, high population of an elephant in a reserve. Let's carry on. The elephant are disappearing, heading more to the north. So it's a good thing for us. I mean, we have benefited the last 20 years. The last 20 years we have started to see more elephant coming here. We'll be linking back to Tessa and see what she's up to.
Okay, so we have just arrived at Baboon Pan. We have left the hyena den. There was another vehicle that wanted to come and have a look, and it looked as though the adults might be wanting to leave. So we gave them the chance to go and have a look. We can always go and check again later. Considering it's overcast, we might have them hanging around for the day. Especially since Heart has eaten so much, I feel like she won't be going very far. But we're checking along here because this has been a very popular spot in the last week, especially for Langa, for Shasha, even for Tandi. They seem to be overlapping quite a bit. So we figured it's a good place to come and sit and have a little bit of a listen. Yeah, quite a few different birds around. And I thought while we're here, I know it is still early, but since it is nice and quiet and calm, I figured we might as well do our bird call challenge. So if you haven't played the bird call challenge before, everybody, it's fairly simple. I play a call for you, and you can then get hold of WildEarth. You can comment and tell us if you think you know the bird or the family, or possibly if it just reminds you of something, or a strange thing happens like your dog barking at the TV or your cat's freaking out at the sound. You can just let us know, and then what I'll do is once we have some answers, I'll show you what it looks like in the book. I can also show you what it sounds like again once we've had some answers. And it's just a fun little way for us to interact one-on-one, and of course sharpen up on our bird calls and see how everyone's going. Okay, so I'm going to play the call for you now. Let me know what you think of it, but here it comes. Get ready. Okay, so that's two birds interacting. The same call, just at slightly different times. So tell me if you know what it is. Have a guess. To me, it might sound a little bit like velociraptors again. Very strange call. Oh, this morning is so good for birds. I've actually just noticed. I'm going to make you move, Jason. I've just noticed a raptor up in the tree on the opposite side of the car, so Jason's going to have to pull some fancy footwork here. Okay, so we're going to spend a little bit of time here with our raptor while we wait for some answers, and we'll send you over to Rexon with his giraffe.
Welcome back from Tessa Baboon Span. We just, after the elephant located a female giraffe, she looked like always alert. Now and then when she collecting leaves, she will stop and look in a certain direction. And this kind of behavior, it tells that the youngster is not far from the point. As she's feeding at the same time, she need to check who is coming in the area. The enemy could be lions, a leopard. I'm not sure how big is the youngster, but you can see the mammal gland also swollen. That tells you this female, she's do have youngster. And general behavior of her, you can see after feeding, she will sit and stop, look around all the time, because you know that lions, leopard can really go for youngster, even hyenas. She's listening quite a lot. You can see ears tweeting back and forth, moving back and forth, that also allow herself to know what might be coming in the surrounding. It's one of the species again that moves in the area, in this particular area. Sometimes you find giraffe move seasonal in the area, but there's no permanent social structure of giraffe. Most of the time, giraffe, I would say, they're half solitary. Sometimes they are social, so you cannot really confirm them. There will be times where you find lots of giraffe moving all together, and they become social for a short period of a time, and they move lonely in the area. You tend to see male moving alone quite a lot, moving from one part to another, looking for opportunity of mating and also opportunity of different area where it's less enemies. Let me position ourselves. This giraffe try to go away from us. Oh, look at the youngster here. Wow. Welcome back. We just look at this youngster. It's big enough to defend itself by running away from anything that might be coming. But the mother still play a beautiful role. You can see the way she was looking up and down in the area, that she's really trying to scan around in a protection of the youngster. We were just behind the bushes, and the youngster was not far from us. We were looking far while the youngster very close to us. They're well camouflaging the color that they have. Of course, they really blended well into the area, in the environment. Giraffe also, that defend themselves by running away or kicking, or rely on the colors that they have to blend it. As you can see, it's just behind the bushes. You're not going to really see or able to spot, even if it's moving. Tend to be so difficult to see. Some what you see, the lion might get confused easy on that way. Giraffe in nature, they have advantage of being so tall, then they can see a little bit far distances. As you can see, it's a very good profile, the way they are positioning themselves. Mother and the youngster, always the youngster follow the mother behind.
Okay, so we are still with our raptor. Believe it or not, this might be the most still raptor I've seen in a while. That's sitting around for a long time. Now it looks like it's a Wahlberg's eagle from the shape of the tail and the head. But it's sitting so beautifully. Angel, you think that the bird call sounded like a sick chicken? That's quite entertaining to picture. Very entertaining. Thank you, Angel. Unfortunately, it's not a sick chicken, although I don't think I've ever heard a sick chicken, so maybe you're right. Grumpy old man, you think it's a spurfowl. Unfortunately not. We're looking a little bit bigger than a spurfowl, but also mostly on the ground. I guess it's a decent guess. The spurfowls are normally a little bit more high-pitched and whistly, but they certainly can make a noise, I know that much. And it sounds like this bird can too. Annabelle, a blue crane. You are on the money. I've had so many people sending in the answer of a blue crane recently that I figured it might be time to actually do it. So of course it is indeed a blue crane. Well done, Annabelle. So you can see it here in the book. I'm hoping that it's open enough. So it is this beautiful one here, Jason. This is a stunning bird. I have not been lucky enough to see it very regularly, but of course I have seen a few, and I had actually never heard them calling. So I remember when I was learning the bird calls and I heard the call of the blue crane, I was quite blown away by the sound of it. And so I'm not surprised that a few of our guesses for the secretary bird were blue crane. They do make quite a ruckus, quite a noise. Absolutely brilliant. I'm loving the long tail, and of course the distribution is fairly wide across South Africa itself, but we don't get as many here as we would like because they prefer very open grassland. So what I'll do as well is I'll play the call again for you while we go back to our bird of prey. Let me quickly just give an update on the radio. Good morning, just the Mesikaya active. Standby's available. Alright, let me play the bird call for you again. I've had a few requests for people to hear it again after we've identified it. Well done again, Annabelle. And this is the blue crane. So it's almost as though they're singing to each other. They're filling the offbeat with their own call, so it's constantly bouncing and you've got a constant call going, but it's two that are bouncing off of each other in between their calls. Absolutely gorgeous. What a brilliant morning for birding, actually. As much as it's overcast and cool, you might expect there not to be as many birds around. We've been pretty lucky this morning. We've seen a few flashes of rollers and things like that as well. They haven't stuck around, so I'm very happy that this eagle has. Makes a big difference when you can see them for a long period of time. Now, I'm not sure where the partner of this eagle is. Normally they are both here, but maybe it's just out hunting, maybe still resting, maybe warming up. And I'm sure that the whole day today they'll be perched up as high as they can because it's overcast. They're going to be trying to get warm as the sun is breaking through the clouds. My plan from here is I'm going to be checking the Mulawati drainage line going up towards Spaghetti Junction. And then from there I'll do a little bit of Battalier Road, Mamba Link, Drakensberg, just to see what else I can find. Because that is the direction that the Shitsalala young male was going in yesterday. And of course when I heard in my ear that it was Shitsalala, I had a bit of a freak out on the vehicle. So let's hope that we can find him. But while I head towards the drainage line, let's head over to JP and see what he's up to.
Welcome back to Eco Training Broadlands. We just had a brief glimpse of some dwarf mongoose, which is one of the smallest carnivore species in Africa. And these little guys weigh weigh less than almost 200 grams in weight. I'm going to see if we can spot them again. One of the things that I did notice that there was also a red-billed hornbill that was associating with them. And quite often we do find that the hornbills do associate with them for the specific reason that they disturb a number of insect prey items for them, and then they can simply grab it. One of the things that they do in return is that they will actually alert the dwarf mongoose of any potential threats that might be in the area. We also find that the hornbills will quite often go straight towards the burrow where these little dwarf mongoose are sleeping and wake them up in the early mornings to get them going. We're just going to sit here for a little bit longer and see if we can actually spot them. Sometimes just by gently creating a little imitation of one of their contact calls, they'll often pop out and come and have a look. But these guys don't seem to be interested in it. If I can just ask that the question can be repeated, it came through very poorly. Good morning, Willow. Don't think that the mist will actually influence it in any way. And I think that obviously, depending on how thick the mist is, that will depend how far they're going to see. But it's not going to be much of an influence on their ability to actually see. Most animals all have got incredibly good eyesight, with the exception of elephants and rhinos, which has got fairly poor eyesight. And when it comes to elephants and rhinos, I reckon that they can see between 30 and 50 meters when objects are actually moving. But they've got a good ability of differentiating between light and shadows as well. Well, we're going to move on and go and see what else we can find. And let's go and see what Rexon is up to. At least he's got some baboons and some action over there.
Welcome back from JP. We are here at Sandy Patch. We are responding on the elephant trumpeting. We just come across with big troops of baboon. There might be more than 30 to 40 easy, even more than that. They are on the way heading east. This is one of the species, of course, when you really see them in these numbers, you just know that in most cases, leopard and leopard cubs in the area, they're going to shift and move into other direction, avoiding a big troop of baboon. Only the male will survive in the area. Male leopard like hunting baboon in most cases. You find that baboon, if they come across with the female leopard, they will really chase them easy. They have no respect of a female, unless if it's a male leopard in the surrounding. All these baboons, you see that in different age, but most of them look like young males. Is how actually, when it comes to safety of the troop itself, it invested on the young males. Of course, that they will be always in front and let the youngster play behind. Anything that might be in a form of danger, the biggest baboon and the super-adult young males, they're all going to face that and try to move wherever it's in their way. They will respect lion, of course. I've seen once before baboon try to defend themselves from a lonely lioness, and all of them gang together and start to shout and going forward and intimidate lioness easy, and suddenly the lioness move out completely on their way. So it's one of these species, of course, in the list of all hierarchy or all predators in the area, because they are omnivore species. Of course, they eat meat and they can forage again here. Fruits and the other stuff they can really eat. Is one of the species that really on the list of predators that we have in the area. There's sometimes these biggest baboon, you can see them at the right time of the year. They'll go for baby impalas. They can eat meat, they can hunt them and kill them easy on that way. But you'll never know where they're going. In most cases, these guys, they travel quite a lot of around the camps because they have highly intelligent. It's one of the species that can really able to break into the camps easy like that way. They can manage to open anything that they really wants to steal around the camps. So baboons is one of the species that we have in the area. It's also on the list of high intelligence species. They know how to defend, and they know how to actually, when it comes to moving in the area, they can, when they go up, ally the power, organize the power from the amongst themselves and defend. We'll be linking back one of our vehicle, maybe JP or Tessa.
Good morning and welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. When it does come to plants, we often find that there's a host of different cultural, medicinal and practical uses that they have. And I'm just going to share some of those aspects with you this morning. First little plant that we have over here is a little purple flower, which is known as a wild foxglove. This should not be confused with the foxglove that you do find in Europe, which is Digitalis purpura, which has toxins inside it that's been used quite often for a wide range of different things. What we do find that the wild foxglove is used for on this side is that it's often for the treatment of painful menstruation cramps. And quite often what we'll also do is we'll pick these little leaves off, and they will be used as an alternative for spinach. And another little flower that we have over here, this one is a little blue commelina, and this one is often used for the treatment of sore eyes. And then over here we've got a little flower that's known as a tumbleweed. It's quite often confused with another flower that is referred to as a waldacha, which has got orange flowers but a very similar structure than this one. This one has got little white flowers. And in quite a few African cultures, it's believed that if you burn this flowers and you actually rub the ash onto a person that has lost a loved one, that will help them through the grief process. We're just going to pan the camera behind us and then just quickly point out a number of trees over here. A tree that you can see over here with a shiny coppery appearance, that's known as a corkwood, and this too has got a number of practical applications. We find that the wood is incredibly light and has often been used for floats, while the roots is also quite often used for gaining water, and apparently can also be beaten into a pulp and then be cooked like a porridge.
Welcome back. We're still with these troop of baboons, more to the right, more to our left. Very interesting when it comes to the troop like this. In most cases, you see there's a little bit more males in front there, and the female baboons or the rest of the female and the baboons, they can really select the best looking male amongst all these males that are in the area. Fortunately, it will be vehicle in the frame. There's more to our right here, Echo, close by. You'll be able to see them moving into thicket here, they can select the best looking male genetically and allows that particular male to mate with the rest of the female, pass on the gene. If do ever get interacted or get really challenged by the dominant male because the female allows him to mate, the female will be all able to protect that particular good looking male, because all the time you know that out in nature it's really all about the healthy gene that has to pass on, survival of the fittest.
How do you know which male is in charge of the troop?
Susie, asking a question, how can you know that this is the male that's in charge of the troop? Without following this troop and observe what might be, what's happening all the time, you'll never know, because sometimes you might choose the biggest male that is the one that's in charge by the size, which is more common to find. That it's like lions. The one that look more intimidating and more stronger is the one that really in a position. But when it comes to mating, it's not like that as always. They have they can select the female can select the good looking male, which is more healthy. But of course, you would never know exactly what's going on amongst all the female, who is the in charge and who is in the status of mating by that time, because all of them, remember, these are primates. They can mate just to really certify the male, or really makes to persuade the male to be happy and always be protective in the area. But when it comes to reality, conceiving and mating, they'll choose the best looking genetically and stronger. It could be big, it could be a young male, it could be an old male. It depends actually who is in healthy status during that period. Yeah, still more to come. You see, I just counting up to 6 males on the last of troop that comes in.
I love these adorable little mischief makers.
Linda loves the baboon. Yes, of course, it's one of the species. Of course, if you follow them and learn, I've seen baboons. Most cases, if you really follow them in a daily basis, they allows you even coming close and able to move together, same as an elephant behavior. But you know that in some of the area, lodges chase baboon and they don't really accepting them coming close due to their behavior. But sometimes if you give a chance, you want to study them and give them distance, they eventually allows you to get so close. We'll be linking back to Tessa and see what she's up to.
All right, we are in the Mulawati drainage line and we are slowly bumbling along. We're looking for signs of the Shitsalala young male, but also anything else that pops up. And what I noticed as we drove past this marula tree is this massive section of ring barking that has happened with the elephants. So this doesn't look very fresh. Possibly parts of it are fresher than others. It hasn't started scarring over yet, so it hasn't started healing on the sections where the bark is still meeting up with that little gap. But it is quite an extensive section of ring barking. You can see it covers the tree all the way from left to right. It wraps around the back, but there is a small section on the other side where it's still intact from top to bottom. So the elephants haven't gotten around to that side. And I think the only reason for that is because there's a tree that's blocking the back side of it, that tree that's kind of hanging over sideways. So that saved this marula's life, in essence. Now, I did a really cool segment the other day on elephants ring barking, and we actually saw an elephant doing it. But this is one of those things that you can look at and you can try and figure out what size the elephant was just based on the ring barking. And so this would probably have been, because the grass is so long, this is fairly high up in the tree. I actually tried to walk over there and physically could not get there through the thick grass because it was so tall. And there's a lot of brush in the bottom. So I walked back. But this is probably an elephant in the region of maybe 15 to 25 years old. So getting towards adult size. And I can tell that from the height of the marks of the tusks in that middle section. You can see there's a bit of a lighter patch, and in the lighter patch there are some very clear stripes of red and brown, and that's where the tip of an elephant's tusk, which is quite sharp, has been brushing along the inside layer of the tree, of the actual stem itself, or the trunk. Now this is pretty important with marula trees in general because of how nutritious that bark layer is in terms of getting water and also a bit of food for the elephants when it's the dry season. So I just thought it would be fascinating to show you what it looks like. So while we are down here and we're having a look nice and closely at this ring barking to see all of the fresher scars, we are hearing some pretty interesting bird calls around us. Right the way through from crested barbets to green woodhoopers in the background every now and then. And of course our smaller birds, pruniers, scrub robins. Just absolutely gorgeous calls. So this is one of the reasons why we like the drainage lines in particular, is for the birding. And of course elephants, leopards, anything else that might be along here. And I'm pretty close to the section where we had the torchwood females the other day as well. Unfortunately for this marula tree, if other elephants come along and there's already easy access to the bark, you might find that this ring barking is going to go further and further up that tree, because now it's easy to get your tusk underneath the lip of the bark. And so this tree is going to have a massive cut to its supply of water that goes up to the leaves. You can see it's still quite leafy though. It's surviving. But you might find it has a much harder time next season, because this looks like it has happened in the last maybe 2 months or so. It really is a lovely day to be spending in the drainage line doing some birding. And of course noticing some of the smaller things. This one is a small thing, but not so small in actual size. It's just one of the signs that elephants have been around, and these are sometimes the most fascinating things to have a look at. They can tell us a lot just from looking at where it is and how it looks.
Welcome back. We're still having this baboon. Just allow you to get the sound that comes out from this baboon competition. It's very clever. We just observe certain behavior here. Since we've been with these baboons, the rest of the troop headed more to the east. These baboon, 3 or 5 of them, they went up in the highest branch of the tree and scanned behind where they come from. They know that in nature, if a leopard wants to hunt a baboon, will stay behind and come slowly behind and always follow them. So now they're waiting here at the same time eating amarula. We have seen one baboon. There was branch on the front to stop him seeing from where they come from the road. They break that branch and extended itself looking behind. If there's any leopard come behind to hunt the rest of the troop. It's in the nature of a baboon to do that. They will send quite few youngster or young males in order to scan what might be around in the area. Then they will know exactly what's going on. So the rest of the baboons are now on the ground. Some of them are looking around. That is one of the Sinak, you haven't seen baboon for a long time. Yes, the baboon now they will follow the migration or they will follow marula. Most of the baboon they will migrate into the area. Some I was saying earlier on about the elephant. Now it's time for all species to migrate. As all elephant migrate in the area, baboon are following. Impala also in the area. It could be more few species that will migrate in that loves amarula tree because it does have highly nutritious vitamin C. They will all gonna come here. What means more of predators that will also come into the surrounding. As baboon coming in here, as you can see, they're concerned. Even we cannot read the same language, but they're concerned over many years of experience, knowing that if baboon do this, it means concerns of predators in that particular spot where they're operating. Also, the leopard means they will come more in the area. We'll see quite a lot of leopard coming in because there will be more plenty food around here. As far as baboon contribute in the list of the chain food of an leopard, which they get hunted. Look how quickly is it coming down. Just because the rest of the baboon, it tells me that they're now moving. They're moving away. Then stay behind has to be quickly come down. The reason why like that, if you stay longer, if there's any leopard in the area, we'll quickly go up and start to hunt a baboon on top of the tree. You know that leopard also is very good on the trees, more agile. You can hunt baboons or velvet monkey up in the tree, chasing one another up in it. Also, baboon very good when it comes to climbing. I believe these baboon that are moving towards East Viatella, or still more, or there's an elephant that's come in the same tree that where the baboon were, and we have elephant that also come in the same area, which means this particular tree it's fruiting at the moment. The elephant also come in. You can see highly concentrating with all species due to amarula season. All of the species they really likes to go for amarula. So here in Juma Service Science, of course, we'll tend to see quite a lot of species moving in due to the season of amarula and of course healthy food in the surroundings. Very interesting. Same tree, there was baboon left coming for amarula, and when the baboon left, elephant comes in. You'll never know, but I doubt that the elephant is just coming down just because of these elephant coming. It's just a matter of all the baboons are leaving the area immediately, and she comes very quickly down. Let me reverse back, then we can see the rest of this elephant approaching this specific tree. The sandy, yes, is depend how far from area. Troops of baboons says they have an ability because you know that baboons are territorial amongst the females. They won't allow another member of other troop that get into, more especially males. They compete quite a lot when it comes to female. But these are the home range species. They'll move from one part to another. But always they will respect one another to cross into the troops in order to take ranks and position, because if you see all these troops of baboon individually here, they have their own rank within the troops of the baboon. So if a new male comes, he might interfere on the ranks of the other baboons, so they have to compete and fight with that in order to put it that. I've seen quite a lot where baboon fight members of the other troop that joins in and push them away from the area in order to avoid being taken in a position. So it's more important. If you look at the elephant themselves here, they've joined in. That means the baboon elephants, they are coming here in specific for Amarula. And that knows the specific tree that is very, really, very good when it comes to fruiting and very sweet and nutritiously. They would never ever forget this baboon is not their first time to be here. And also the elephant is not their first time visiting the specific tree. They know exactly with their route that they move from one part to another. They know specific trees that they're going to visit because it's not their first time. They've been here maybe last year. They know this shop or that tree and whatever. It's where we can get very nice fruit and highly nutritious. It's such amazing. You see that elephant visiting from one tree to another specifically, and baboon doing the same. Really amazing. That's reason why, I mean, elephant is one of the highly, highly intelligent species. They will never forget, even if we human beings interact with them, with our voice and vehicles that we drive, in anything. In once the elephant recorded that in their mind, they will never ever forget. They will always stays in their mind. If you come in that particular area by your voice, they will know that this is the problem that comes into the area. They might run away and respond to you. If you're good to them, they will always know that this is the best guy into the area. They will able to respond to you very easily, not without fighting. They will really stay and be able to view them. Such amazing species when it comes to elephant. It's not species that can really forget. That's the reason of their plain route that they move. Since they're young, in the age of 3 to 4, they still remember areas where they can find water, they can find food easy on that way. Let me position myself again and see if we can see this female nicely. Wow. Baby Blue, nice. Let's take an opportunity to really answer the question. Do an elephant is the only species that they ring back the trees? Yes, Baby Blue. There is only species that's a lot more powerful in the area. They use tusks and they have a lot more strength, even pushing trees. It's the only elephant that can do that. The other species, as far as buffalo, they don't really strip back the tree. What they do, they might horn themselves. Due to the heaviness of the species, the small bushes, it will able to get, will do back, but not as the elephant can do or kill the tree. Buffalo cannot do that, but the elephant is the only one can really do that. Due to task, and also they are a lot more powerful. That's the reason earlier on, animal that deserve to have a title of jungle of the bush, it's an elephant, because it's really strong. The king of the jungle, it's an elephant. Sorry for that. It's an elephant which is a lot more stronger and a lot more powerful. A lonely elephant can really even kill lions in the area, because they're always healthy, more especially in this region where we are. So it can happen. It depends. The reason why animal eating bone is not only giraffe that can do that. impala, anything can do that. If they feel like the body have less calcium, you tend to see these species eating giraffe. But I doubt with an elephant because elephant, I haven't seen that, but it can happen. If they feel like they have less calcium in the body system, they can really chow that. You can see other species. I have seen cattle, I've seen buffalo, I've seen a lot more to mention. I've seen impala, but I haven't likely come across with the elephant doing that. But no doubt, because all these herbivore species, they have that ability to do that. Even the elephant, they can do that easily. If an elephant can do like a youngster know that he has to eat his mother as dung in order to get bacteria, if also need to have, of course, calcium, you will know that this is the only way to get calcium into the area.
When you wrap flick to taste to see what she is up to.
From the elephant eating amarula, we'll be linking back to Tessa. We'll continue us heading to the north to see if we might find something.
Thank you, Rex. Good luck in the north. I'm still in the kind of southeastern part. I was in the Milwaukee drainage line, but I've rerouted a little bit. And I want to start from Spaghetti Junction again and just see where we can go from there to have a look for this young male. Now, Rexon said he thought that the Shitsalala male was heading kind of south from Battalier Road. So when you go south from Battalier Road, it kind of runs up at an angle. The two roads south of that are Mamba Road and Mamba Link. And they all branch off quite close to Spaghetti Junction. So I'm going to dip into the river from there angle. The two roads south of that are Mamba Road and Mamba Link. And they all branch off quite close to Spaghetti Junction. So I'm going to dip into the river again from there and then maybe go straight up Mamba Road and then come back Drakensberg, Battalier Road. So do a bit of a loop to see if he's around there. He would be looking for some food, so maybe we'll get lucky and we'll find him up in a carcass in a tree. Or maybe Hart, who was so full this morning, maybe she has stolen a kill off of him. It's not too far away. So you never know. But let's go and drop down into the riverbed and have a look. The sun is coming out nicely now, so it is warming up slowly, but it's still fairly cool. So most of the predators should actually still be fairly active. Maybe not dark mane, he would be sleeping. And a lot of lions would be sleeping. But leopards, maybe not. Vicky, that's an interesting question. I think it would depend on the country. Most of the time it would be anywhere else. And I suppose a bird that looks unusual or is special for whatever reason. So I think it really would depend. To me, I almost would have thought that South Africa's national bird would have been a secretary bird and perhaps not a blue crane. But blue cranes are so limited in distribution that it does make sense. So I think it's different for each place. You know, all of our different national animals and flowers and things, they're all really fascinating. And in this part of the world as well, we often say, you know, why is the national animal a springbuck? Why is it not an impala? Because we see so many impalas. So you would think that would be the most common, but the springbuck is so special because it's limited in distribution. It's a special species that you don't find in other places. You find other variants that are similar to a springbuck. But, you know, like the Thompson's gazelle, but you don't really find a springbuck anywhere else. So, well, and Namibia. So I think it would depend on the country. Right, we're about to arrive at a little pan system, so I just want to check here and then head towards those eastern roads. I'm on Battalier and I'll head towards Mamba Road.
Welcome back. We from Tessa. We are moving in the area where I believe we had the trumpeting of the elephant. I believe it might be cat movement in the surrounding. If it's not a dark man, I hope maybe there was a leopard. But more or less, it's in the area where we are driving at the moment. Yes, we have stopped there for the baboon, but let's follow up in the area and see if we may lucky seeing what might be taking place in the area. The different trumpeting and the different alarm calls of different species, even baboons, lions, velvet monkey, elephants. Once they get to see predators, another predators, a baboon give a different alarm call, elephant give different trumpeting, velvet monkey give a different lament, impala give us different sort of alarming. It depends what might be there. So over many years of experience and learn this kind of trumpeting of an elephant is not like intimidating one another or intimidating vehicle. This kind of trumpeting or type of trumpeting is all about cats that are moving in the area that come across, or elephant come across with the predators in the area. So it's more like that. That's the reason we have responded in the area. We had that this is not a trumpet that normally carries by elephant when they get to see another elephant or vehicle or antelope. It is a predator's trumpeting concerns.
We have changed our plan again, everybody. We are now back in the Mulawati drainage line going south. And as we got onto Battalier Road, close to the pan system, we could see a male leopard's tracks on top of Rexon's vehicle tracks from yesterday. So he changed direction. Instead of going straight south, he moved back towards the drainage line, and his tracks are actually in the left-hand vehicle or tire track going straight south. So we're going to follow the tracks and see where they go. It is the perfect area for a leopard. So many tall trees to hide a kill, to have a nap. Nice dense shrubbery to hunt and to hide if he wants to. And of course it's nice and cool down here. Pretty sheltered with the wind. It's just a funnel wind. It doesn't really spread out too much. So his scent would be nicely covered. So we are going to have a quick look along here and see. Right there, the track's cut off going up onto the bank. Now this is a very dense area to show you what we are working with. Very, very dense area. Lots of smoke from Wendy. Apologies. The old girl, chitty chitty bang bang. So have a look up this bank here. You can see the track's cut up and there's a game path that runs just through the grass. You can see a slightly more open section. It's gone up that game path. But driving past here, how on earth do you find a leopard in a thicket where you can't see more than 2 meters from the car? So this is what we're working with. Luckily there is a road a little bit further south that cuts up to the east. So I'm going to keep going along the drainage line slowly. I'm going to keep checking the trees and of course the long grass. I mean, he could be lying right next to us and we have no idea at this point. And then I'll take the next road up to the east and just see maybe the tracks cross out there. In my mind though, the leopard would have stuck around this area, so probably still around the drainage line. Indigo Girl, I love the Mulawati as well. That is actually a woodland kingfisher alarm calling. Now it could be alarm calling for us, it could be alarm calling for an owl, a snake. a bush moving, or it could be alarm calling for a leopard. But I'm not hearing anything else alarm calling. So I'm going to continue very slowly. You can see lots of nice cover for the leopards. I mean, look at these trees. So this is absolutely perfect. So let's see if we can find him coming along here. But it is so thick. How do you even begin to look for a leopard on a bank like this? So I'm focusing my search more on the left-hand side because the track's cut up to the left. That doesn't mean he hasn't crossed over somewhere else and come back up on the right. So I'm checking the right slowly as well. Sally Shitsalala male was born in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Rowan actually had to remind me of the dates because I was not lucky enough to see Shitsalala much when I was at Ngala because of the lockdown with COVID. So Shitsalala was apparently born in 2019, so close on 3 years old now. Oh, this is so beautiful. I feel like I could spend every day just driving through the Muluwati and relaxing in here, camping. Look at these thickets, isn't it amazing? Now this is how you could very easily lose yourself. Get immersed in it, but also obviously lose a leopard. Now to me the Muluwati reminds me of Ngala a lot. The Timavati riverbed, all the tributaries, the Shitsalala drainage line was in fact one of my absolute favorite drainage lines on Ngala. So you can understand why I want to find Shitsalala male this morning. But anyway, let me send you back over to Rexon to see what he's up to while I continue my very slow leopard search in the dense brush.
Welcome back from Tessa while it's still trekking a male leopard along the Muluwati. We have a wonderful sighting from here. Although we're able to see from the, we're not gonna get so close. We have this elephant trumpeting and all that. Suddenly we can see elephant swimming. Let's enjoy from the distance where we are. Maybe we might get a better view from the cut line. It's a little bit distance, but you can see the two young males swimming from the distance early in the morning. There's a lot of energy from young males, and of course they've been operating the whole night, and they get easily get overheat and able to come down to the water. And it's more about playing in most cases and learning more skills of fighting and able to really mount one another, because most of the time you tend to see elephant young bulls when they are inside water, the one that is stronger would mount another one, and that experience it will be needed in the future, because when times of mating come, mating of an elephant takes inside water in most cases, because in the ground this animal sometimes becomes huge and heavy. If you find a female that of course is not able to host or the size or the kgs of a big dominant male, it might cause a very serious damage on the young females. So all playings in general, it really educates the youngster how to fight and how to mount one another when it comes to mating. Of course, you cannot able to get the sound. It's really a far distance. It's splashing of water of trunk. It's just a very beautiful sound. Danny, yes, on Sunday, elephant having a little bit of party. It is good. It's a very good timing for this elephant. Today is Sunday. Yes, you need to have good fun outside, or even wild animals, human being, which is really important. They say, I believe from playing it might attract more young bulls that comes in the area. Remember, in Elephant Kingdom, in most cases, when you are a young bull, you will be really forming your own bachelor boys that will be moving from one party to another, all together doing the same thing. And again, that young bulls, they will be really governed by the older bulls, teach them how to behave and how actually move from one part to another, seeking different sort of food and concentrating in different areas that might have high nutritious food to make the body be healthy and more stronger. That is really more important in nature of all species. It has to be strong because out in nature is not like us. Survival of the fittest. If you're not fit, you will be easily get challenged by different animals. Even amongst your same species, of course, you will be always get kicked and be at the low bottom of all hierarchy of all different species that really might be competing with you or ended getting killed. That's the reason you find that from the elephant or buffalo. Back, we're still with these two young bulls swimming in a river. Let's try to really get the sound of the bush. Maybe we might get more splashing of the water. I will be more silent.
So we are slowly bumbling down Mamba Link, and we've definitely found the right place because there's a lot of hyena tracks on the road, including a really big set that might be hearts, and of course a leopard track underneath. So maybe they stole a kill from Shitsalala male. But I've just noticed a pair of battaliers up in the tree, and this actually made me think of my sighting earlier when we were doing the bird call challenge. With the backlighting and us not really being able to see the details, my initial thought was it was a brown snake eagle, and then it was a bit too small. had a look, and the tail was quite square, so I thought, okay, Wahlberg's eagle. And as we got closer, once we left, we saw it was a juvenile brown snake eagle. So my apologies on that front. It was a misidentification on my part. But lovely to see a pair of Battaliers up in the tree. And this pair is resident here. We often see them on Mumbalink. And it looks like they're having a little bit of a conversation there, a bit of a secret conversation. In actuality, they're probably busy having a bonding moment where they can preen each other's faces.
Any stations still mobile?
Go ahead.
Can you tell me if the music off of Philemon's Cutline or off of Twin Dams Road? Which is that?
On Twin Dams Road, if you go just north of Twin Dams, the first track to your left, to the western side, will be the Nisikaya.
Sorry, Jess, I don't know if you copy me. Can you tell me if the Nisikaya is off of the Philemon's Cutline entrance or the one off of Twin Dams?
Twin Dams.
Looking for the one off Twin Dams.
Oh, there we go.
Okay,
So this is quite a tender moment to witness. It's not often that you'll be able to see Battaliers that are bonding the way that these two are. Now they are monogamous, which means they should pair for life. They should be keeping the same nest year after year as well. And so it's lovely to see them actually kind of bent over and touching faces. You can see it looks like the one is busy preening the other one just behind the head and the neck. Definitely a male and a female. The female looks like the one on the left, the male on the right. So if you listen around us, you'll hear a lot of alarm calling. They're most likely alarm calling at the Battaliers. I mean, there could be a leopard right here as well. But it's the first time I've ever seen this behavior in Battaliers. Almost looks as though the male is trying to kind of impress the female. Leo, yes, they actually will eat the insects that they're picking off, any pests. They don't always do it, but yes, it's a good source of protein. So Battaliers often as is will feed on insects, things like termite alates, big grasshoppers, anything like that. So yes, they might eat the insects that they are picking off. He's being quite meticulous around her head. You can see she's kind of turning her head so he has access to different parts of her neck. And I'm not sure whether he's just helping her kind of realign her feathers, just having a bit of a preen, or if there's something more specific to this. Possibly just a bit of close bonding time, a bit of contact. Something I know a lot of people have missed over COVID lockdown. Carla B, that's very true. It is just in time for Valentine's Day with these two lovebirds. How sad is it? I actually forgot that it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Goodness gracious. We work every day, so we never know the date or the day. But I know it is Sunday today. I do actually know today. And like Rexon said, it's a relaxing day. So we're seeing some unusual things. Now I should imagine there's a lot of people around the world who are using the day to bond with family and friends and partners. Maybe that's what the Battaliers are doing today. This is quite a special moment though, so I just want to watch for a bit, take in the scenery, so watch what they're doing and listen to the calls around us, because it's not often that we get to see such an intimate moment with birds of prey. Kevin, no. Their beaks actually change color. So when battaliers hatch and they are chicks and immatures, they're a chocolate brown color with brown and green. It's this light mossy green color on the beak. And they'll only start changing over to the red and the yellow when they're closer to maybe 2 years old. So for the first quite a long time of their lives, they are in a brown color with a green on the face. So the different color signifies sexual maturity. But a full plumage from top to bottom, including the different colors on the back, the wings, the beak, the feet, that can take many molts. So molt is when a bird changes its feathers over, it's growing new feathers and it gets rid of the old ones. It can take, I think it's 4 different molts. And then 6 to 7 years before it's completely, fully looking like an adult. So anywhere between 2 years and about 5 to 6 to 7 years old, that's when the color is changing. So I'm interested to see if this is possibly part of a courtship, but I know that allopreening is common, grooming each other is common in battaliers, especially pairs, but we don't really get to see it. So what a lovely way to spend a bit of our morning. I'm going to sit for a little bit longer and watch, and I'll send you over to Rexon to see what he's up to.
Welcome back from Tessa with the beautiful battaliers. We have these 2 elephants there leaving the water. They were trumpeting, doing kind of things, playing, and we now figure out from the distance where we had the trumpeting, it was these 2 young males. They were having fun on Sunday, of course. So they're now heading out of the area. But the way they were trumpeting, it was vigorously, is where you know that in most of time when you hear the elephant doing that, they might be chasing wild dog, they might be chasing hyenas if they come in numbers, or lions. So immediate effect, you need to respond on that particular area. You're always in a benefit to see something that might be wild dogs, which is very much common. We've seen that elephant most of time engage on wild dog areas all the time. They will be doing trumpeting and chasing wild dog. And a wild dog would know, because they're very, very easy to run away from the lion. They'll keep on playing, even teasing the elephant. The elephant will extend trumpeting to show that he's not happy. But we now figure out, we know that exactly what happened here is not all about what we were thinking, is all about playing. So we have learned today, for many years, of course, the 2 young males that really play in the water, they will keep on trumpeting just because they're having fun of the water. It was not the predators that might be thinking. Let's head to the east, looking more on that area we haven't been. We might be lucky seeing something on that surrounding. You never know. There's no one that headed on the direction of Befesuk sign to the east along the boundary. We may see maybe Tavangume or Kara in the area. This is the area of Tavangume. Kara's movement also around in the same area. But look like it's elephant everywhere. Really moving from one area, checking amarula trees. The beginning of the drive, it was very, very misty, and now it's becoming hot. You can see some cloud still in the east, a little bit overcast cloud colliding slowly to the north, maybe around the afternoon. Adal. Thank you. How do you have it? That is very easy. You can ID a leopard from the tracks. You can ID it from the top of the whiskers. Leopard do have spots. So that's of a leopard that tells on top of the whiskers. Some of the leopard have through, some of the leopard have four on the other side. You calculate that all the time when you get to see that particular leopard, you take binoculars, or it's in a very close range, you just read this, you can tell. For instance, a leopard, identifying leopard from the tracks. I'll take example with Tavangume is one of my best example. Before it was Hokomuri and Tingana. All these leopards, of course, when you get to see the tracks are not the same. It could be in a different size, it could be in the same size, but there's something unique that you can get to identify individual leopards from their tracks. Like Tavangume, one of the third toe is cut in the middle. It's also leave the footprint on the ground, and it tells. Tavangume, Hokumuri, one of the claw, it was sticking out all the time. It can see that the leopard beach foot tracks, but one claw is not retracting, it's always out. Then you can see that it's Hokumuri. So all of them you can identify on that way. From reading on the ground, you tell which one is this. But other than that, you need to start checking spot patterns. It's very, very important. For instance, I've just witnessed something with Nzutini. It was my first time ever seeing Nzutini from Sandy Patch. If you look at, if I still remember, the left ear is got a cut, it's got a hole. It looks like a ring, but it's really hanging, is not attached, so that you can tell in future when you come across of that leopard, you look at that features, then you can tell this is Nzutini. Is on that way. With Shidulu, it had a notch on the, if I'm not mistaken, on the left, not on the right ear. It's got a notch like a V. Then you can tell that this is Shidulu. So each and every leopard, time and again, it has something that it can really be identified with different leopards around in the area. It's how actually you may identify a leopard.
So we're driving very, very slowly through the section close to the pan systems on Mumbalink. And we are hearing a few birds alarm calling. And I'm wondering whether that leopard has moved through here. We haven't seen any tracks, but the grass is so long. There are hyena tracks though. So I'm just taking it really slowly, having a good solid look from side to side. Up the trees, down the trees. And of course up every game park, up every road. Right, let's have a look here, just on the edge of the river. Riverbed drainage line. Now this particular section is actually the first place I ever saw the Shitsalala female. Lalamba. Confusing my two leopards here because I'm so excited. First place I ever saw Lalamba. She in fact had a kill on the edge of the drainage line further down that way. So I'm just going to sit here and listen for a little bit in case we can pinpoint where the alarm calling is coming from. It sounds like it's down that section of the drainage line somewhere. How lovely would it be to find the Shitsalala male again this morning?
Welcome back to Pridelands. We're just busy watching a number of giraffe that are feeding over here, but they tend to move into this direction now, into the thicket, and I might just be able to get another view of one. Ah, there it goes. Moving into precisely the opposite direction as what we wanted to. So when it does come to animals and their movements, they don't always play along, and we don't always get it right when we predict what they are going to get up to. On the end of the day, there's no such thing as typical animal behavior. So what I was watching them doing is that they're feeding on the pods. If you have a closer look, maybe just pan the camera on these purple pods over here. And this is one of the Terminalia species, which falls into the Combretum family. And this is known as a purple pod cluster leaf, or a low-fowl cluster leaf. And at this time of the year, these seed pods are ripe, and it seems that they have a high nutritional value because that's the only part of a plant that these giraffes are targeting at the moment. What I do also find particularly interesting about Combretums is that they are one of those plant groups which can actually push up their tannin levels as well as communicate that they are being browsed on to other members of the same species. And the response of those plants will also then to be pushing up their tannin levels and make them unpalatable, forcing the giraffes to actually go and feed somewhere else. Some of the other plant groups that can do that is the Vachelias as well as the Senegalias, which has previously been known as acacias. They also have ability to communicate that they're being browsed upon to one another. We see that other plant species in the area also has a number of other tactics that they will employ to actually protect them against browsing of both giraffe and other animals such as kudu, and that's incredibly big spines or fawns. But while we are losing our giraffes now, let's go and see what Rexon is up to.
The Mvuwa Road, this name is named after the movement of the hippos that last move in the area. Mvuwa means hippo road. When I check in the area, we have seen tracks look like earlier on. Myself and Tessa look like dark men headed west. I have come all the way down from Sandy Patch. There is no tracks of him on that area. Let's see if we may locate him if we pass Kalegopan on that area to check if he's back in that surrounding or not. I know that dark man is tending to be so lazy to move. It's not just because he's lazy, but he's avoiding quite a lot with the confrontation of other lions that might really take his life away. Remember, when the lion gets into that age, it's very important now for him to be more selective in the area that he moves, especially the sub-adults that really take care of him. They all have left in the area headed the corner of southwest of the reserve, Savisens, which is further more to the west, couple maybe up to 40-50 kilometers to the southwest. I don't think they will be immediately coming back in the area, unless if the tracks that we have seen today of Kuhuma Pride, maybe the dark man himself have joined the crew. You'll never know. It won't going to be a problem according to my experience, because Mohawk and Blondie, if I'm not mistaken, these are two males of Avoca males. If he joins the crew, it means that the cubs are always safe, because lions, what they do, they cannot kill the cubs of or offspring of his own collection. When they get to scent those cubs, you know that it's from the brothers. So if he really joins Kuhumas, he will be in a very good status for himself in order to take care of himself, and also able to really get something to feed himself, because Being a lonely male like him, which does suffer from his right foot, sometimes is very slow to hunt. He has to join his brothers in order to hunt in the collection. It's very important for a pride of landless reason. If one male or female get injured within the pride, he will still survive because the rest of the pride is going to make a kill or hunt, and he's going to join. We'll never know. Let's see as from now, because the rest of the pride are away. And I'll be linking back to Tessa. She's having a good surprise for us.
Neil for Mike.
Okay, so we are back at Chelapan. We've done a bit of a loop. And this is the same male giraffe, aka Jonty, who has been here for the last 3
Neil, I'm still
days, which is quite unusual. Normally when we see giraffes, they're pretty nomadic. They don't have territories or anything like that. They'll move around. And this one just seems to be enjoying Chelapan for some reason. So I'm certainly not going to complain about it. It is so good to be seeing a giraffe regularly again. I know Rexon was lucky enough to see the females with the tiny baby yesterday too. But he seems to be quite a relaxed male. He's very dark in his body. And quite old. He's got a pretty big protrusion on the front of his head just below the horns, which tells us that he's old because that will always keep growing. And of course, not really too worried about us being here, so this is a bonus. Ella, you're 10 years old and you want to know if giraffes can move around and cover distance to other countries like some other animals can. Absolutely they can. Traditionally, giraffes used to be part of the migration. And so they definitely could cover that distance. They do it fairly slowly, like the other animals. I think there's a misconception that covering long distances is done very quickly. It's not. It's done over a series of days or a month. But absolutely, giraffes could cover that distance. You can imagine having such long legs. 1 step for a giraffe is about 4 for a zebra. And so it would definitely be able to move between countries quite easily. There's actually 7 subspecies of giraffe, which is quite unusual. And what people don't really know is that they're highly endangered. Giraffes are on the list, everybody. We've got to try and do what we can. Can you imagine a world where you come to Africa and there's no giraffes? None. It's one of the most iconic animals out here, and yet, because of habitat loss, there's hardly any left. But I'm very happy to see that we've got him hanging around at Chelapan again. It's a really beautiful way, and he's the one with the little heart on his side in his spots, so I'm very happy to see him.
Neil for Mike.
Welcome back to Eco Training Pridelands. At the moment we are looking at a number of giraffe, and they're busy browsing on the seeds of a number of different plant species as well as the leaves of these plants. And what we'll notice is that they actually go from one plant to the next plant. And the reason is that the plant will start giving off tannins to make it as unpalatable as possible to protect it and to prevent that the giraffe will overutilize the whole plant. And that way, the plant ensures that it can be sustainably used again at some point. One of the things that I do find particularly interesting when it does come to feeding, differences between male and female giraffes, is that the males will actually focus on feeding on almost anything, and they don't spend a lot of time on feeding. The rest of the time they'll be looking for cows that are in estrus, or picking fights with other bulls which they can potentially have to compete with so that they can obtain dominance and that they have rights to then therefore mate with these cows. Opposed to the females, they're actually incredibly selective about what they eat, and they only go for the most nutritious plants and spend a lot of time feeding. And the reason why is simply to ensure that they're in the best optimal condition that they can be in estrus. So some of the differences between males and females, if you are curious how to separate males from females, is simply looking at those horn-like structures. However, young bulls can also have horn-like structures that resembles that of a female. We refer to those little horn-like structures as ossicones. And in the males, it's got bald spots on top, and in the females, it's got little black paintbrush-like tips. We also can see that males are much larger, as well as much more thicker necked, and generally darker in color compared to that of the females. And if you're 100% not sure, it's always just best to check underneath the belly. You'll see the penile sheath of a male breaking the outline of the belly, as I've seen quite a few guides incorrectly referring to young bull giraffes as females.
Welcome back. We are now at the driveway. We just joined in here. We can see over 100 tracks of baboons heading straight to the east. We wanted to achieve on the tracks of dark man and monitor where he might be heading. So there's no tracks information from Galago Pan itself. From this road here, tracks look like it's been override by the troops of baboon. But I believe the dark man might be not far from the point. He's not gonna go far away from here. As I was saying earlier on, he doesn't have company at the moment, unless if he get to hear alarm calls of different species, or if he can get a scent of kills in the area of a hyena or leopard have killed something. Suddenly in the middle of the night, when the wind blows in the right direction, he'll head in that direction. It's now actually how he's going to rely, unless if opportunity created by stray species lying down, impala starting to run on his area in his position, yes, he'll still make a kill, even if he does have that really painful or sort of front feet that really shows that he's not going to do the best, but he can still do it. I've known that in a record a few months back, I've seen him really on top of the buffalo, killing a buffalo. So it's just a matter of sometimes it looked like it's in pain, you struggle a bit. Let's come across, we come across with wildebeest here. I will be linking back to Tessa. We have beautiful wildebeest in front of the quarantine.
It seems like we've gotten very lucky with some of the plains game today. What a lovely way to end the morning. And it's just starting to heat up. The clouds are dissipating, the sun is breaking through. And I think we're going to have a lovely day today, weather-wise. Now, our giraffe has all but forgotten that we're here. He's gone back to feeding. And I'm sure he's chosen this spot for a combination of the drainage line, where it's got nice greenery for him, Chelapan for some water, and of course the open area around Chelapan for a bit of safety because he's on his own. Now, it's not altogether that unusual for us to see a giraffe on its own, especially a male, but they don't have a fixed social structure. Andy, most of the giraffes have a similar pattern on them, where we're talking about dark marks with lighter kind of streaks in between, a pattern. But each giraffe will have unique spots, like each zebra, like Rexon's over there with the wildebeest as well. They have stripes on their side. All of these animals have very unique patterns, in the sense that no two will ever be exactly the same. So it's almost like a fingerprint, except for an animal, it's its whole coat. Same with the wild dog, same with the leopard. Everyone has a unique pattern. It looks similar, so you can tell that it's a giraffe and which subspecies it is. But they're all unique. Oh, he's so majestic when he walks. It's interesting to see the color change of his spots too, because he's very dark in specific places. I'm going to have to move a bit forward. But he's very dark in specific places. So along the side of his chest, wowza, windy. I don't even know what that was. But on his side of his chest, he's very dark. But on his neck, he's lighter, and on his legs and his rump, he's lighter. So it's interesting to see. And then, of course, as he's moving in the light, that also changes the appearance of the spots. When he's in the shade, he looks almost black. But when he's in the sun, he's this very deep chocolate brown in some places and almost a red brown in others. Alright, there we go. He's at the side of Chela Pan. Oh, he is gorgeous. I wonder how he got that hole in his ear. And Marie, I'm so happy that you enjoyed the drive this morning. And of course, elephants are always a highlight, especially when you get to see them swimming. What a brilliant morning. I particularly enjoyed the hyena cubs this morning, and seeing Ribbon and Heart at the den site together. I've only seen them there once before, when they were together. Other than that, we normally see either Ribbon or Heart, and not both. Walking very slowly past the pan. I wonder if he's trying to determine if there's anything else around before he has a drink. So vulnerable for giraffes when they're drinking. He's got an oxpecker hanging from his chin. Enjoying the little bit of cleansing and the grooming that he's getting from it. But what a lovely morning it has been. I think we have been exceptionally lucky this morning, and from myself, JP and Rexon, we're so happy that you could join us. Thank you for the company, and we're looking forward to seeing you again this afternoon. Hopefully we'll be just as successful, if not more, and with many more surprises waiting around every corner. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you again, and we'll see you later.